Everyone knows how much the Houston Oilers meant to the city of Houston. The Love Ya Blue era especially. People really loved everyone on that team. They loved Bum Phillips, Earl Campbell, everyone that they saw on that team they loved. Didn't matter who it was. And over the years, that love has never died. It's never wavered once. The city of Houston loved the Houston Oilers. And we just lost another Houston Oiler legend today. David Carter died a couple of days ago at the age of 67. He was a center for the Houston Oilers during the Love Ya Blue era, which had him going to all 7 of their playoff appearances. And that, I mean, all of their playoff games in that time span from 77 to 1980. So, the city of Houston, as you would expect, pretty sad. Like, oh no, we lost another one. We've lost Bum Phillips in 2013. Several other players have died since then, or even before then. People are getting older. It's a fact of life that this is going to happen to a lot more people. But we're not going to stay around forever. But still, the fact that there is still a lot of people in and around the city of Houston that still care for this team, care for it that much to remember a guy, just one singular guy that was on the team, and that he is now dead. You would think that the Tennessee Titans would too. You would think that they would. I mean, imagine if Warren Moon just dropped dead today. You bet your ass they would be trying to cash in on that, or at least, pay their respects to him. But David Carter, since not only was he an Houston Oiler and not a Tennessee Titan, that he was also with the Love Ya Blue era team that has been removed much longer than the Warren Moon time. They haven't said shit about him. Not a single fucking word. You know how people love to put their shit out on Twitter? I ain't seen a damn thing from their Twitter. I ain't seen a damn thing written about them at all, except for the people of Houston. You see it articles from the Houston Chronicle and a couple other people's around the area. You might have somebody in Tennessee that has written an article, but the Titans themselves have not acknowledged this. Despite the fact that he was a center for the team, a pivotal point in the team that got them to 3 straight playoff appearances. 3 straight playoff appearances. They haven't said a word. They haven't said a word. Why haven't they said a word? I have no idea. Like I said, if this was Earl Campbell, Warren Moon, you bet your ass they would be saying something. At least saying something. Right? And David Carter, yeah, sure, he may not have been a superstar or anything like that. But the fact that he was with the team during Houston football's most successful era in the league, that's pretty important. You would think that they would try to do something and just go, oh, wow, this sucks, man. We're really sorry. He wasn't a part of the Titans, obviously, but he was still part of our organization because we used to be the Oilers. We used to be in Houston. Right? This guy was so dedicated to the city of Houston that he lived there after he retired in 1985. He had been living there ever since. Right? This is also one of those things that I talked about in my video. If you watched it before the NFL decided to copyright strike it because they're assholes. The city of Houston and the Houston Oilers Love Ya Blue era team had a very, very strong connection to each other. One that hasn't really been replicated since then by any other team. I'm that confident in saying that. So, this dude was on a team that was that connected to him. That connected to him personally, and he was connected to the city that personally. Alright? Doesn't matter if he wasn't a Hall of Famer or anything like that. Maybe not even the best guy on the team. That's still something you should be doing to go, oh man, this is really sad. We have to acknowledge this. Right? You have to acknowledge this. You are the organization that had him. Right? You won't give the Houston Texans the Oilers name back. So that responsibility for acknowledging the death of Houston legends, That's on you, Titans. That is on you to do, because it is your responsibility if you are to continue to have the Oiler name in your history, if you're going to continue to honor the names of Oilers past. That is your responsibility to acknowledge these things when they happen. But you haven't said anything yet. You've said nothing. Oh, Amy Adams may be a buck ton better than Bud Adams as an owner. You know, I've said this before and I'll say it again. She don't give a shit about the Oilers. She hasn't said shit about it. I haven't seen anyone on the Titans side of the ball saying anything about this. And I'm not going to expect the players much really to care. I don't blame the players for not saying anything. I don't blame the coaching staff for not saying anything. I don't even blame executives for not saying anything. But when you are the owner of the fucking team, not just the owner of the team, your family has inherited this fucking team from your fucking father. You were alive during that era because you are his kid. I think that deserves a bit of saying, oh my god, this sucks. I knew this guy because my dad was the owner of the Houston Oilers. This sucks. Dedicate something to his memory. Right, dedicate something to his memory. Do something. Retire his fucking number or something. I don't fucking know. But something has to be said here. If you're not going to do that, give the name of the team away. Because that's what's really got me frustrated and pissed off right now. The Titans have never given up the Oilers' name. But Adams would never allow it. That is part of why the name was retired in the first place by Paul Tagliabue. Whenever they changed the name of the Oilers to the Titans when they moved. Because Bud Adams hated the city of Houston for not giving him a new stadium. And he knew how much the city of Houston needed that name. Right? Because as much as the Oilers name meant a lot to Bud Adams himself because it made him such a rich person, it meant a fuck ton to the people who worked in Houston because oil was one of the big reasons that the city had anything. Without oil, you don't get the NASA Space Center in Houston. You don't get the fourth largest city in the United States. You don't get that. You don't get that without oil. Right? The countless people who worked in the oil derricks there, the amount of people who came there to work, who found jobs, not working with oil itself, but working with other things around it. A lot of Houston as a city wouldn't be as successful as it was without oil. But you guys won't give the city the name back because Bud Adams didn't want you to. All right, and just as recently as 2019, people were trying to get people in the Texans themselves, the players. They knew how much the Oiler name meant to the city of Houston because they'd been there for years. Deshaun Watson, DeAndre Hopkins, J.J. Watt, they tried to get the Oiler name back. Or at least just get the fucking uniform so they could throw back them. There was a whole campaign about letting Deshaun wear number 1 like Warren Moon. DeAndre Hopkins photoshopped himself in a Texans Oilers throwback. But Amy Adams was like, no, fuck you. The Texans have nothing to do with the Oilers. Bullshit. The Texans have everything to do with the Oilers because if the Oilers don't leave Houston, the Texans don't exist. Bob McNair doesn't get the team. Do you not fucking remember that, Amy? I'm pretty sure you were old enough to remember the entire circumstance that led to not only your dad leaving Houston and going to Tennessee, and you were alive. You were old enough to know when Bob McNair came in. Bob McNair came in. He was like, "Okay, we're gonna get the team back. No, we're getting Houston team back. You have every fucking opportunity to give him the name back. But now I know you weren't in charge back then because it was your dad, and your dad's a famous asshole. But Jesus Christ, man, you have every opportunity since his death in 13, 14, 15? Bud Adams has been dead for a few years. You don't have to honor that. You don't have to honor that stupid fuck you to the city of Houston. All you have to do is, okay, we want to keep the Oilers name because it's technically a part of our history. It would be kind of dumb to let it go. But you could give it to Houston too. You could share it, in fact. Have a little rivalry game. right? Because we are the Titans and Houston. You know, they are they are the biggest rivals to each other, right? Maybe for the Titans, maybe it's still the Steelers, but you're not in the AFC Central anymore. You're not even in the AFC North because, you know, the divisions got fucked up. But you are in a division with the team that came in to replace you because your owner pulled a fast one. You know how much the Oilers mean to the city. How much they yearn for that name back. People want the Oilers back. But you will not allow it, Amy Adams. You won't give them the name back. You won't give the people of Houston something hopeful. I mean, look right now. We're in the dregs. It's going to be a miracle if we win 6 games this year. And that's if Deshaun Watson plays. And we still don't know if he even wants to play or if he even wants to stay. But we are still in a lot of uncertainty right now. We still don't know what the offense or defense could be right now. We still don't know what the coaching staff can be able to do with the team because the training camp hasn't even fucking started yet. Right? The least you could do, if you're not going to give us the name back, is at least honor the name of a Houston Oiler. Not just a Houston Oiler, but a man who was on that Love Your Blue team that people absolutely love in this city. But you won't give it to him. You won't do it. And I can understand that. That's your decision. But it also comes the responsibility of you have to acknowledge things like this. And if you're not going to do that, just give the Texans the name. They sure as hell will. Alright? Cal McNair may be running a trash fire right now. Because, you know, ever since his ownership, we only got 1 playoff appearance, barely won against the Bills, and then got blown the fuck out in an epic choke that rivals 35-3. And now we're in the dregs. Think about it. We're not doing too hot. I'm not asking you to have sympathy, but Cal McNair wouldn't be that much of a piece of shit. I don't believe that he would. He may be a fucking idiot. I don't think he's intentionally malicious. But seriously, it is your responsibility. If you're going to have the name, if you're not going to give it to the people who care, then the least you could do is to respect them. At least respect them. Say, okay, guy died. We need to honor that. We need to honor him. Why don't you do that? Why haven't you said a single thing? Hasn't Amy Adams said anything? Why hasn't many of your beat writers or whatever, people who write for you, since it was, you know, the Oilers are technically the Titans, why haven't you got anybody going out there saying anything? Why don't you have this press conference saying, oh my god, not a press conference, but a video or something? Just to do something to honor this man's name. Could you do that? Could you do that, Amy Adams? Because if you're not, then you should give the Houston Oilers name back to the city of Houston. Alright? Oil does not mean shit to the people of Tennessee. They do not. It's not one of their purviews. They never gave a shit about oil. Oil was not a thing that made them. The thing that made Nashville is the fucking country music industry. But you didn't name the team Nashville. You named them Tennessee. Alright? You know why? So you could keep the Oilers name. Bud Adams did that. But still, I'm just extremely dumbfounded that you will not give the city of Houston the Oilers name back. It has been too long. Been my entire lifetime, basically, and a year plus, since the Oilers name was changed to the Titans. And ever since Bud Adams died, you have had every fucking single opportunity to give the name back to Houston. But you won't do it. And if you're not going to honor those obligations that you have to do whenever a member of your team dies, a former member of your team dies, if you're not going to do that, give it to the people who fucking care. Give it to the people who care. And guess what? You could, like I said before, you could share the throwback rights. You know how much money you guys could make with the Texans if you did that? To have a rivalry game. They could have a throwback game where they play with the Oilers colors. You could have a throwback game where you could play with the Oilers colors. You would get all the merchandise for throwbacks for Warren Moon, Earl Campbell, All those legends that we had, but you won't do it. You won't even do it. Why? I don't know. All I know is this really pisses me off. It's an impromptu rant. Fucking hell, Tennessee. This disgusts me. This is absolutely fucking pathetic.